My name is Marcelo Valal, Forage Extension Specialist with the University of Florida, and we're here at the Beef Research Unit today to take a look at some of the early spring growth of some Bahiagrass pastures. Today is March 8th, 2023. We have had a very warm and unusually warm February in winter time, and actually things look quite green. And I'm going to show you today a little bit of what this green means, and also want to be careful about something. Greening doesn't mean it's growing quite fast, and thus it's not yet time to let loose those cows grazing too much. Let's take a look at two of the pastures of Pensacola pastures that I have here. This first pasture that I have behind me here is a pasture that has not been fertilized with nitrogen for quite some time, probably in the past, at least in the past 3 years. It has no nitrogen input here. In there, it's pure Bahiagrass. It's pure Pensacola Bahiagrass. And we can take a close look and see that there is some growth here. There is some significant growth, especially for this early in the season. But when we look down in the ground, we still see a lot of thatch and see that the growth is quite thin. We don't have a lot going on here. This is probably equating to about 5 to 10 pounds, not much more, and it's probably only 5 pounds of dry matter per day. I like to think about accumulation, so the rate that the forage accumulates in the pasture right now, it's quite slow. Just as a matter of magnitude, if you think about an 1,100 pound cow eating 2 to 2.5 pounds, 2 to 2.5% of body weight in dry matter per day, we're talking about 22 to 27 pounds of dry matter per day that cow needs to eat. If we consider that we should not graze much more than half of what we have here, so 50% harvesting rate, we probably need between 5 and 10 acres to sustain one cow without degrading this pasture. Now let's take a look across the alley here. We have a mixture of Bahiagrass and perennial peanut. This pasture here has been probably planted in peanut maybe 30 or more years ago, has been managed only with grazing. We've been keeping the fertilization with phosphorus and potassium, but no nitrogen has been applied in this pasture. And we see it's kind of patchy, but still there is a lot more biomass growing. Again, not a lot, but much more than the other pasture. And the interesting thing is when we get a closer look, we see that it's quite thicker, and we also have that peanut component. It's quite interesting how early this peanut is growing.